Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to welcome all those who are listening on radio via WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio. We've got 100.5 FM out of Labby in Grenville. We've got Rampoon Radio out of New York, USA, sorry, not New York actually. It's another city, but I'll get to that shortly. But Rampoon Radio is out of the United States. So we want to welcome all of you today, especially those who are on the NDC Facebook feed and YouTube. So welcome to another NDC Heartbeat episode for another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be chatting extensively with Senator the Honorable David Andrew. He is the Minister for Education, so we'll be talking education stuff today. We'll be touching on some of the projects accomplished, and we're also going to be chatting just a little bit after Senator David and I have conversation regarding education matters. He has two team members here in studio, so we're also going to be chatting with them. But before we start today's episode, we're going to be sharing with you a clipping of Prime Minister the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, who is in Florida, and last night he was honored by the city of Lauderdale. So stay with us. We're going to share that video with you. It's just a short clip, and then we come right back so we can start the conversation with Senator the Honorable David Andrews. Stay with us. Back in a moment.
Vice Mayor Saray Martin, Commissioners Richard Campbell, Melissa P. Dunn, and John Hudson do hereby proclaim that November 8th, 2025 is the Honorable Deacon Mitchell Day in the city of Lauderdale. And it says in the city of Lauderdale, in recognition for his visionary service to Grenada, his steadfast dedication to the upliftment of his people, and his enduring influence on the Caribbean, and also to the entire world. And I put my seal to this, sir, and we present this to you today. Thank you.
You have chosen unity over disunity. You have chosen resilience, flexibility, inclusiveness, and strength over infighting, weakness, vacillation, or wish-washiness. You have chosen boldness and courage over timidity and the same old, same old. You have chosen positive change and transformation. You have sent a clear and resounding message to the tri-island state of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada that the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of inspiring hope and belief in our people and in our nation. That the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of beginning the process of creating a sustainable and brighter future for our young, vibrant, creative, and innovative population. You have recognized and honored and rewarded the tremendous contributions made by all of the NDC stalwarts. And for this superb choice, I say thank you.
Jada Collier, Grenada's outstanding youth cricketer, who has played cricket for the West Indies under-19 team. Tell me how that experience was.
That experience was amazing. It really showed that hard work pays off, and that if you do not give up, that the work that you put in, it will come to reality, and all the goals that you set out will actually come true.
That's great. That's great. So what does Jada do now in terms of her education? So you're playing sports, you're great at sports. In terms of your education, where are you right now?
Right now I'm at NDC studying modern language and literature.
Ça me fait beaucoup plaisir que tu étudies le français, que tu étudies les langues modernes. It makes me very happy that you are studying French, that you are studying modern languages. So we are talking with a young lady who is rounded. She's not just talented in sports and an excellent West Indies under-19 cricketer, but she's also an academician. She is studying modern languages, an area that has a lot of opportunities, French and Spanish, and that's excellent. So we want to wish you all the best. But before you go, if you had one message to say to other young people out there, like yourselves, what would that message be?
That message would definitely do not give up and continue working hard. You have to put in the hard work. And, some days it will be hard, but you have to fight through it and do not give up.
Congratulations to you. Jada is from St. Andrews Southeast in the village of Post Royal. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your family.
Thank you.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. That last interview there was Senator the Honorable David Andrew interviewing this young student, academia. She's also sports enthusiast. Wow, correct. You got some bright young kids in your constituency.
Oh, certainly. It is a pleasure to be here. First, let me say good afternoon to all of our viewers, listeners, followers across the various platforms. And that interview was very exciting for me because it was one of my random walks in one of my communities, the community of Post Royal. And I know the family, but I stumbled into one of the children and I found that she was an under-19 West Indies cricketer.
Whoa.
She actually plays for the West Indies under-19 cricket team. As you can see, she was wearing the T-shirt. Yes.
T-shirt. Yeah.
And I love cricket. Cricket is one of my favorite sports. And so we got off to this conversation and I found out about her education. And she's studying modern languages, French and Spanish at TAMCC. And of course, being a former modern language teacher, a little conversation had to come out in the French as well.
And I see that you also good with your friend. Parlez-vous la
Oui,
français?
certainement.
Oui.
In fact, I used to teach French. I used to be the head of the modern language department at one time within my 10 years at the secondary level. So it was just a fantastic experience to meet a young person who is so highly talented in sports and who is also keenly interested in academics and in modern language, an area with vast and immense opportunity. So it was a pleasure. I mean, of course, she's a cricketer, and she was talking about cricket, but obviously you heard the crickets in the background just as much. But it probably wasn't a professional shoot because it was just one of the routine community walks, that I did want to share when that time came.
It was a wonderful interview, and it was really live.
Very much
including the live crickets in the background.
You couldn't get more live.
Great. Well, tell us something. What's happening in education? Give us some updates as what's happening in your ministry.
So thank you for that opportunity. There are always lots of good stuff happening in education. I'll probably just touch on a few of them because I'll probably start with school infrastructure.
Right.
I've had the pleasure of visiting a number of the sites where we have schools being constructed or major infrastructural repairs taking place there. And we were thrilled with the progress that's taking place at a number of those sites. We started so a team of us from education, along with some the engineers and the CTO from infrastructure, visited a number of the sites. So we started with the St. George's SDA school. Now that's a school that the SDA fraternity, they're building, but the government supported immensely to the tune of $1.5 million to their effort. And they've always been, Minister, when are you coming to see the progress? I'm happy that they are working well. They are progressing quite well. They are intent on going 3 stories up. The infrastructure is already up for 2 stories, so they have the 3rd to go up. So they're making quite good progress there. We then visited one of the schools where they are retrofitting one of the classrooms to make a math and science lab. As you well know, the ministry is keen on focusing math, science, and the STEM subjects. And part of that plan is to retrofit a number of the primary schools with math labs, science labs, so that the students get early introduction into math and science. So we have dedicated areas to store and to engage with the manipulatives and all the things that they need to get the correct attitude towards math and stimulate their interest. So we visited the St. George's Methodist School, and the progress is going well. The little lab looks nice. There are some fine finishes to go in still, so it's going to look even better when we get there. We went along and we visited also the Florida Government School. And Florida is a school where, well, the school is located not in Florida, but it's in Loretto, but it's the Florida Government School. We have plans to construct a brand new school facility while we preserve the Great House, because the Florida government sits around a Great House with the school amenities there. But we found that that facility needs repairing, and it's been long in coming. So what we've been doing, we have currently constructed some temporary facilities, which we visited. They look wonderful, the temporary facilities, and the school is likely to move in the coming week into that new temporary facility to facilitate in earnest the groundbreaking for the construction, the renewed construction and preservation of the Great House and the construction of the school around that site. So we visited there, quite a lot of good progress. I mean, just the temporary buildings look so good, you wondered if they needed a new school, but of course we know the constraints with lands and all of the other things, and the need to preserve what we have there. So the project will take place, but we were happy with the advancement taking place there at the Florida Government School. And from there we visited Tivoli, the Sacred Heart Pre-Primary School. And the contractor there is Mr. Neville Matthew, and quite good progress was being made. They are on schedule. In fact, the Ministry of Infrastructure has a number of engineers that routinely supervise some of those projects to make sure the implementation is happening to plan and to specification. So we're getting quality. In all of the sites, we were pleased with the quality of work that we were seeing, and in most cases, the timeliness of the work. So they were going great guns too. They are likely to complete most of the major works close to the end of this year. And we're hoping sometime early next year, that school too could see their students move into that facility. That's the Sacred Heart Pre-Primary School in Tivoli. From there, we moved to the Grenada Christian Academy. And that one, it's just fascinating to see the work taking place there. They are up already 2 stories, and the infrastructure is up for the 3rd. They need to do some of the wet works, as they told us, some of the additional blocks, but the work, and it looks sturdy. The quality of the work is outstanding.
That's great.
Commendations to the contractors, the supervisors, the supervising contractor, and all the guys on the project. I mean, I moved around, and they were all excited, contributing to the development of solid educational infrastructure.
Fantastic.
So we were happy with that. They told us, though, while the timeline was supposed to be the end of December 2025, they've asked for a minor extension, so probably about 3 months, but we're happy with what we are seeing, and we anticipate that the next school year certainly would see the school population inside a new school building. So we are excited about that.
You have over what? Over 300 schools in Grenada?
Well, at the secondary level, you only have 21 public schools. You have about 57 primary, those are government owned. You do have a number of private, and so you have a number of privately owned
private
preschools.
Yeah.
The number is quite significant, probably over 100. And you have some secondary, probably a few, about 4 or 5. So
now, just to point that for a small population, we do have a lot of schools.
Certainly. Compared to some of our neighboring territories, we have a lot more schools than some of them. And we also visited the St. Andrew's Anglican Primary School. Now, I was happy to visit there because we've had some delays. Although we had this sort in quite a while, we've had delays there, but the work is moving. And because that area is an area close to to the coast in Grenville, that's low lying. They're doing significant foundation work, digging out and putting the base in preparation for the piling that needs to take place. So I was quite impressed too with the advancement taking place there. Finally, and I know once that gets going, there's going to be significant activity in the town of Grenville related to that project. We visited there.
Let me just ask you, with the recent handing over of cricket gear by Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and of course yourself and others, how does that impact on schools? Because I realize that that was part of the focus.
Yes, well, certainly. I mean, I'd be happy to talk about the gear probably separately, because I have two other schools I'd be happy to talk about to complete discussion on the school visit, but I'll get to that as soon as I'm finished.
Yeah.
So we visited the Anglican school, and then we visited St. David's Catholic, St. David's Secondary. The work is advancing tremendously fast. They are casting the final bits for the foundations of what's almost a $40 million project. We were impressed. The guys are working day, they're working night. The ethic on that project, I mean, the work ethic of the guys on the project is excellent.
Wonderful.
From the contractor, the consultants, they're there, and so they're making good progress. That's in the area of Malmont, St. David's, and then we visited Caliste Government, where we're doing a separate block. That was long overdue. They're out of the ground in terms of foundation. So all of the projects are doing extremely well as far as school infrastructure is concerned. So you asked me about the cricket gear. And even before I talk about the impact of it, I want to just put on record our thanks to Mr. Aliko Dangote for his generous donation of 1,000 cricket kits for distribution in schools and clubs across Grenada. And that's in excess of $100,000 US value. And so we highly appreciate that. So distributing those kits is in line with government's push to support sports and physical activity across our communities. So not just in schools. I mean, that was mostly for schools because we had junior kits. So we targeted a lot of the primary schools and secondary schools as well because they were differently sized. But this goes well with lighting of the fields, the playing fields across communities, because we're encouraging communities to use those facilities and to get physically active so that people can preserve their health. So that ties in with the overall national strategy for sports and for physical activity. We're having a collaboration right now with the Ministry of Sports to have coaches placed in schools to assist with physical activity and sporting programs across all our schools. So several of them who probably, some of them were previously Imani trainees, they're going to get permanent placement inside that structure. But again, it's to help with the development of sports and physical activity in school. So we hope those kits will stimulate persons to get more active in sports and for them to promote sports, cricket, all sports as possible career paths and possible career opportunities. Because indeed, sports is a multi-billion-dollar career, a multi-billion-dollar industry that have genuine career opportunities for persons if we push in that direction. So we are encouraging them to go there. Yeah. So we're still in education, and recently the NTA led a national education summit focusing skills. You know, skills education is a major thrust and a major priority for the government. They had a skills and education summit where they focused skills, and they had a theme that surrounded raising a work-ready generation, right? We had people from CANTA, which is the Caribbean Association of National Training Agencies. You had people from the Heart Foundation from Jamaica who work with skills, and Jamaica is pretty advanced in some of those regards. So we had very stimulating engagement with the business sector, some of the key players in the industry to ensure that we all on the same page discussing skills with the NTA and education and all of that. That was very important. We also have the Youth Transformational Skills Program. That's the one I've been always talking about, where we align skills in our school system and mainstream it. We've been expanding the offerings in primary school So there are some additional skills labs that need to be put in some of our primary schools. That's ongoing. And we are continuing to mainstream skills in our secondary schools. So there's a dedicated unit put together for the delivery of our skills program. At the moment, they have engaged a consultant. So that is done for consideration at the cabinet level. A consultant is a consortium of universities coming from Canada. They all have skills and experience in developing centers of excellence in the areas that we are targeting. And so they are supposed to be onboarded soon, once the cabinet gives clearance, to assist with all of the technical parts of aligning the curriculum with what's happening and to make sure people can move seamlessly from third form in secondary schools into the skill centers in the area of furniture making and construction, in the area of hotel and tourism management, in the area of marine studies, boat building, fishing, and all of those things, and in the area of agriculture. We've started some serious work there at the TAMCC campus in Maribor already. So that's happening, and I'm excited about that. Probably the last thing I'll talk about here is our projections to smart many of our schools and to smart the classrooms. Now, we started well with introducing the laptops, distributing the laptops and the e-books for students of Form 1s and 2. I mean, a tremendous investment in our students, Form 1s and 2s. All Form 1s and 2s would get a laptop, very high quality, military grade is described, and with e-books that align with the actual book list on the book list. So that's excellent. But in addition to that, we have also started discussing the introduction of smart boards for all of those schools. So incrementally we'll improve those. But if we target all of those primary schools, all of those, not primary schools, but all of those Form 1s and 2s, eventually we'll supply all of them with smart boards in keeping.
For the benefit of those who don't know what smart boards are, please.
Right. So you're talking about, it's one of those devices. It would seem like a flat screen TV almost, a huge one, but it's a computer that allows you to access all of the digital resources online at the touch of a button. So you can access your lessons, you can go online, you can download videos, you can, all of the things you can do on a computer, you can actually do it on one of those smart boards. So you can actually do your lessons there, present them the same way you can do it on a computer, but you have that in front of the class that everybody can see, just like a chalkboard. Some of them are actually interactive, so you have certain magnetized pens that you can write with and do stuff on those boards.
Fantastic.
So that's going to happen as well in some of those schools. I mean, we're looking at the costing, and then of course we have to get the cabinet approval, but there's such a strong willingness on the part of the cabinet and our Prime Minister to invest in education that I don't envisage having any challenge getting that passed when we get there. But that's the thinking, along with the learning management system, which is a framework for persons to access resources for learning. It could be lessons, it can be assignments, it can be videos, tutorials, all of these things, all of those would be online as we move to strengthen the e-learning ecosystem that we need to have our learning.
Along with laptops, the ministry...
Great. Now, what is the ministry doing with respect to artificial intelligence training for students?
Right. So the issue of artificial intelligence training, that is something that we still need to probably even have more national policies on. But we are clear that artificial intelligence is here to stay.
Oh, yes.
Students are using it. One of the things we need to do
The
is
Ministry
to make
of
sure persons still have correct values and ethics. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the information is available. How we assess needs to be looked at. Because gone are the days where we have to try to remember every single detail.
Yep.
Because at the touch of a button, we have a companion, a medium to be able to access thousands of bits of data and to pull the essential ones. But it means that our instruction and our assessments have to be tailored differently, because no longer do I have to task a child to remember all of that. But the key elements and the reasoning skills and the problem solving and all of those skills must still be present.
Yep.
Because we can have as much access to the information is what we do with that information to solve our problems, to become more innovative. So it's something that our IT department is working with. We continue to train our teachers. We continue to train the persons in the field of IT to be able to access and make the best of those resources in the classroom on a daily.
Great. Well, time certainly catches up with us. It's almost close to 12:30. So tell me something about your constituency. What sort of activities been happening in the constituency by way of projects, etc., etc.?
Right. Well, today I actually brought two of our young persons from the constituency, and I would have been happy for probably them to talk to you, probably even first,
well,
before.
I'll get to them on that.
You prefer to get to them after?
Just give us an overview.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
just an
so there are a lot
overview.
of great things happening across the constituency, and almost every polling division, I can talk about good things happening there. From down in the south, well, the southern side, I would say, but down in Crowshoe, Lambert Bridge, that's a project that's happening there that everybody is extremely happy about. We are erecting solid iron railing inside concrete pillars around that bridge there. It was always precarious. Persons felt the risk that if you're driving down, there was always a risk that a vehicle could easily go over into the pond beneath there.
I think I actually saw that project when there was a joint meeting with the St.
Yes,
Andrew
correct.
representatives.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if you pass now, it's
Oh, it's
way more
probably
advanced.
way advanced.
So they've
Yeah.
expanded the road, they've widened it. They've also started introducing the slipper drain on the side, so that has even widened the accessway even more. Last week they started cutting the trees overhead because that was one of the things that was preventing the advancement of that project. We had Gwen Lake come last week. They were supposed to be there today as well. Hopefully on my way up I'll be able to see that they've completed the cutting of the trees, and then they'll complete the railing work because they didn't want any of the branches falling and damaging the work. So people are very, very happy about the safety they feel there, about the widening of the access road, and the embankment of the stones to channel the water more safely, and the resurrection of the pond beneath this. So all of these good things have happened there, and we can go further up. We can talk about things happening in Cafe, new pavements in places that we've never had before. In Post Royal, we've just almost completed, I think there's just probably about 2 meters to complete a fantastic pavement and slipper drain project in Post Royal, where that area that's called the Farm Road area, I think in that area there used to be a chicken farm way to the bottom. But there are a number of houses in that area, and they're always clamoring water is to come down and get into their yards and damage the foundation of their homes. We have dealt with those things, and we have paved most of the roads there, and people are extremely happy with that. So we're talking Post Royal, in the area of Goat Hill, in Crowshoe again, we have more road, new areas being excavated to do access ways to some of the families living in the back there. Up Ammer Road, which is just as you enter Crowshoe from Grenville, and that road connects you to the Mamacan area. People are very thrilled. We've started a project there. We need to complete the second phase, but the people are very, very delighted. We've done a significant amount of the road work there, the pavement and the slipper drain with a turning area up that hill. Eventually, the aim is to connect that road to the Mamacan main road. But persons have been in high praise for those projects as well. If we go up to, we can go up to Telescope. I mean, we passed Marquis, we passed Grand Bacolet. Grand Bacolet has a fantastic piece of road and pavement in top Grand Bacolet, where the persons were so impressed with the work and the drainage to give them access to their homes in the top part of Grand Bacolet just before you go back down towards the river point to go into Munich. So those have been happening. We've had a few outstanding projects in the Marquis area, roadways, pavements and drains to take care of water. We've had significant projects in Telescope. The wash in Telescope is a huge one that's taking place. In fact, we are due to have an official wash handover in the coming week at Telescope. We have some 20 beneficiaries at Telescope getting brand new washrooms, about 15 brand new, and some others, about 5 others, getting completion assistance. But all of the recipients are extremely delighted, and we're going to officially hand that over sometime in the coming week. The road works, the SAS pasture with the lighting of the field, the residents of Telescope have been extremely delighted to see the lights erected. We are working assiduously to have it lit and connected. We're working with infrastructure and Grenlec to do the final bits of work to have them connected and brought to use in the community.
Fantastic.
And we can talk about the road, that 40 feet of road in front of the Telescope Primary School that was broken and mangled for decades, and that was commissioned about a month and some ago, 2 months ago. We're very, very happy about that because residents continue to speak highly about those projects, how impactful they are, and how much they have lifted the entire community, how much they make persons feel elevated, and it makes the community feel brighter. So we are very, very happy. Even recently we had a land regularization consultation in that community to talk with a lot of the persons who are occupying state lands and who would want to go through the routine process of applying and getting regularized so that we can have some value added to them and some wealth added to them. And persons in attendance were quite happy. So we even have housing, a lot of housing taking place. But even before I talk about the housing, how could I forget the bathrooms being constructed at Hope Beach after the lighting of the pasture, not the pasture, but the lighting of the beach area. We now have a bathroom and change room being constructed there on Hope Beach. Yeah, and there's a plan to do one likewise in the Kabi area down the coastal side. So we're not leaving any area out.
Wow.
I mean, from what I'm sharing, you're hearing that all of the communities are getting touched from Crowshoe right up to Telescope. And so all constituents all over, they're delighted with what's happening. They have not seen as many things happen in such a short space of time ever before. That's the kind of feeling, that's the kind of feedback I get when I am on the ground in the communities as often as I go, you know. So, and then we have housing, lots of housing projects taking place. We have probably about 15 homes getting sorted in various parts from Cafe. We have a couple there. We have in Grand Bacolet, we have in Marquee, we have in Telescope, we have in Hope. So all over, people are getting those bits of assistance, complements the Ministry of Social and Community Development and Housing. And we've had some outstanding ones in collaboration with MIT that are being completed as well. So, I mean, MIT doesn't longer do that as much, but those that are already in the system are being completed. So much to the benefit of our constituents as they benefit from these things.
So what would you say is your completion percentage rate of your constituency manifesto promises to the people of your constituency?
I like people to better judge that.
Judge you?
but a number of the big things are in progress. So I think probably close to 70% of them have been touched in some way or other. Now there are some that are more long-winded. For instance, we talked about addressing the flooding issues. That is being consulted upon. There is a consultancy taking place to...
Well, that's a major project.
Exactly. So that is not something that we could easily, but it's being engaged through the Ministry of Infrastructure. We've talked with engineers. There is a company looking at it and proposals being drawn up to deal with that. But that's obviously going to take some time. The preservation of the flooding and the mitigation for flooding in the areas of Subies, Marquee, and even Telescope, that's been addressed. We've had some advancement with the Nature Conservancy on the Subies area, all where the Seafood Saturday takes place. All of that was part of that sea defense and coastal preservation taking place there. We've had consultations in the Marquee area and in Subies for the continuation of that project. So they've talked with the residents of the area to ensure that their concerns and the environmental and social considerations are brought to bear on the designs. So that has happened. It is happening. The Greater Grenville project is still being considered. So we talked about a library in Grenville. We talked about advancing Grenville. So right now, there's a public-private partnership, a PPP, for the Grenville Commercial Complex, which will see a major structure, a 2-story, 3-story, I think it is, building built from Victoria Street, where the old post office was, or still is, the old post office building, right back to where the library, the old library building is right in front of the market, and that's on Ben Jones Street. So that whole block will be taken for the construction of there's a public-private partnership with the cooperative bank, Grenada Cooperative Bank,
Right.
and the government. So the bank will occupy the bottom space. The library will be on the second floor, and there'll be government offices in that vicinity as well. So all of the government offices, the treasury and
Post
government,
office and so
yes,
forth.
will be housed there. So there'll be tenants to fund and to pay for those spaces until the cost is recovered. Now, what's happening now is that there are currently vendors occupying the space. And so there's an active engagement with the vendors, and Cabinet recently approved a plan to relocate the vendors. Some other areas are being considered at the bus terminal and an area close to the fish market that has not been in use. So those are currently, I think Cabinet approved it. So it's a matter for ensuring that we have appropriate accommodation for those people who are being displaced, who will be displaced by the project. And once that's done, I anticipate that in the coming in the first quarter of next year, God's willing, we would see sod turning and we'll see the commencement of that project. So there's a lot of great stuff happening, and these are things that we talked about in the manifesto, to answer your question.
Right, yes.
Right? We talked about, well, in a general sense, we talked about making education free up to TAMCC, and that is happening, but that's for everybody, and that's across the nation. So we have a number of outstanding projects. We are looking at the whole pasture. We have had discussions already with the designers and infrastructure. There is a plan to expand once we get the landowners to give us the necessary space. Or, well, I mean, we could acquire, but we want to have the dialogue first and see what's possible. So that's already been discussed. We've had the technicians from infrastructure already do designs to contemplate what's possible and what will be needed to get a particular size. We've had discussions with GFA. They are willing to put something down there for football, already funded. But we know that that area is often used for school athletics and a lot of community cricket. So we want to maintain these elements even as we consider developments there. So I think a significant amount of what was committed to have been provided, either some fully and some in part, and some have already been engaged, and the rest will be realized down the road. So a lot has come, but there's a lot more to come as we continue to get a mandate.
Fantastic. Well, this sounds like quite a number of works have been, undertaken in your constituency,
Yes.
and a lot is still happening, and a lot more to happen.
Yes,
Wonderful.
for sure.
Well, we want to take a break, and when we come back, I want to have a chat with your team members, and then to ask you to come back in just to close
No
the
problem.
program.
That's quite
so
fine.
at this time, we'll take a break, and we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Attention everyone! Join us for a night to remember at the NDC Florida chapter's 3rd anniversary celebration on Saturday, November 8th. Indulge in a delicious buffet-style meal for just $100 and mingle with friends and fellow supporters as we celebrate our achievements. Our esteemed guest of honor, political leader, and Prime Minister Honorable Dickon Mitchell will be there to share his insights. Get ready for a vibrant Caribbean cultural experience at the MOV Fusion Bar and Grill, located at 4575 North Pine Island Road. Enjoy performances from Alba Boy, Posh, and Anila Welch Miller that will keep you entertained all night long. It's a semi-formal affair, so dress to impress. Mark your calendars for Saturday, November 8th, and be part of an unforgettable evening.
The 2024 NDC Women's Arm Dinner was outstanding. Guests were treated to live music from our talented police band, and dinner was not only delicious, but also set a stunning ambience. Everyone danced the night's way, creating an unforgettable experience. Mark your calendars now for this essential fundraiser on November 29th. The theme for the night is Back to Africa. Get ready for an evening of pure elegance. Don't hesitate. Secure your tickets today to benefit from our early bird pricing. the NDC Canada chapter presents its pre-Christmas dinner and dance, happening on Saturday, November 15, 2025, at the Church of the Nativity Banquet Hall, Malvern, 10 Seawells Road, Scarborough. Come and enjoy a delicious mouth-watering buffet dinner served at 6 p.m., followed by an evening of music, laughter, and dancing, with music by DJ Ambi and Selector Vibes. Tickets are only $75. And yes, there'll be raffles and lots of door prizes to win. It's a pre-Christmas celebration and fundraiser, all in support of moving Grenada forward. Don't miss it. Get your tickets today. Call Kingsley at 416-209-6226, Julian at 647-561-4350, or Louise at 905-865-1027. E-transfer payments will be accepted.
You have chosen unity over disunity. You have chosen resilience, flexibility, inclusiveness, and strength over infighting, weakness, vacillation, or wish-washiness. You have chosen boldness and courage over timidity and the same old, same old. You have chosen positive change and transformation. You have sent a clear and resounding message to the tri-island state of Petit Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada that the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of inspiring hope and belief in our people and in our nation. That the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of beginning the process of creating a sustainable and brighter future for our young, vibrant, creative, and innovative population. You have recognized and honored and rewarded the tremendous contributions made by all of the NDC stalwarts. And for this superb choice, I say thank you.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. For those listening on radio, we want to just let you know that the program may be going beyond the 1 o'clock hour, so please join us on the online platform, be it Facebook or YouTube. So right now I have with me two team members representing St. Andrew Southeast constituency. They fall under the tutorship of no other person than Senator the Honorable David Andrew. So, please introduce yourselves. PRO.
Hi, I am Rondonna Henry. I am the PRO of the NDC St. Andrew Southeast branch.
Great.
Yes.
And yourself?
And I'm Jonathan Taylor. I'm the Assistant Treasurer of the St. Andrew Southeast branch. Also, I'm the youth lead for the youth arm of the St. Andrew Southeast branch as well.
Fantastic. Great responsibility.
Yes.
Well, let me start off with you, therefore, and ask you this pointing question. What kind of leader would you say is the Senator, the Honorable David Andrew?
Well, for me, I've had the privilege of knowing Mr. Andrew even before his life in politics. I mean, I was a student of SAS,
right,
and in which he was the guidance and counseling tutor at that time. And not only that, I've known him through me and his son trained for cricket for a lot of years to get in Progress Park. So I had the privilege of knowing him even before he got into politics. And for me, he's always had this energy, always welcoming to persons, and he basically always look to empower persons
Great.
to become better of themselves, and I guess that fits into his role as an educator before, and his role as a counselor and a therapist before. That he always wants to see people uplift and to see betterments of people. So coming into to work with him, it became almost like he grabbed onto me and pulled me in, and also very welcoming to me. And working along with him over the last years or so, as I said, he brings that energy, that passion, and one of the things that I say drive, and maybe you could see it in his growth as into politics, is that once you have a deep commitment for people, people development, and you care genuinely about the people, I think it brings that drive for you as well. And I mean, it bolsters into the sentiments of the political leader as well, that they are grounded by development, seeing people improving the lives of Grenadians and people as well. Not the people of Grenada, but the country as a whole. And in that way, once you see the country is going better, then after the individuals and the communities going down, they start getting better. And that's the whole drive for them. That's the mantra, I could say, that it builds his focus around.
Right.
Making sure, and again, to even within his work in ministry, you could see that. So
Fantastic. Yeah. So would you say that you can consider yourself as an aspiring representative for St. Andrews Southeast? Maybe in the next 20 years?
I mean,
or less, who knows?
I mean, the idea is not new. I mean, it has been thrown to me before, so...
Great.
But I mean, I'm just continuing. For me...
You're taking your training.
Yeah, it's about learning the process,
step by step.
the process now, and as it's good to become part of the process, and that way you get a better understanding. The team has really welcomed me and really been showing me the insights, and I've been growing and learning a lot more into it. So, but again, the question has been asked before if it's something I may consider. I haven't given an answer to that yet, but as for now, it's all in the development phase.
Great. Fantastic. Well, let me go to the PRO and ask her, what do you think is one of the greatest strengths of Senator Andrew?
His ability to connect with people. He has always been a people person. I have known him most of my life. And he has always, as Jonathan mentioned, always wanted to see the best in you. He always encourages that also. And being out with him when he's in the communities, it doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. He always knows how to connect with people. And you might visit this area for the first time. He introduces himself, and then by the next couple of times, people always say, there's just something about you, his qualities, who he is as a person. It doesn't matter, sometimes when you go out in the community, you may meet others who might have little issues, and they might come across in a manner where you have to just listen, He always knows how to even deal with this situation, handle this situation. I think he has a clear understanding of human and how to deal with humans, as he's also a counselor. Yeah, so it just works in well with him and his nature, his person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask, therefore, what are the people of Southeast St. Andrew are saying about David Andrew?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm usually on the ground with him, and it is very positive. It is very positive. What they say to him, the encouragement, even the critics, it's always good. Very rare we get a few negatives here and there, because in the line of politics that is expected. But for the most, it's always warm. It's always positive. They always speak highly of him as a person from what they encounter. So yeah, that is what I have to say.
Great. Well, let me ask Jonathan, what would you consider to be one of the most impactful projects that Senator Andrew has undertaken in the constituency?
Well, in the constituency, for me, maybe it's hard to at this point out one, because
You mean there's so many?
yeah, you have so many projects, and the thing about it is that the people have been climatizing for some of the projects for such a long time.
Yeah.
So when you look at the impact they have, I mean, you could talk about the Lighting Up Progress Pack, in which
Yeah.
he was a part of together with the Ministry of Sports. I mean, the people and the cricketers and the sports enthusiasts, I think people like Mr. Maxwell, so we're glad to see the lights having. SAS school may be glad because they sports, even last year they had to rent lights for the for the sports to go up later in the night. So that for one, for me, I grew up within the Grenville area. I played most of my time in SAS, and I went to SAS, and after I played most of my time in Telescope. So that project in front of the school where they did the road, again, the impact of that road on the people again will be tremendous. People, the motorists from there will be glad to appreciate, because a lot of persons use by roads to, the road passing and the bay are around by SAS school because of the inconvenience of the road and the how it was. So now persons having that, I think it do good for them. And for me as a young boy growing up playing in SAS Park, I mean, when you're in the sweat, it's just never enough. So the lighting of the SAS playing field now is a tremendous step for the people in Telescope. I mean, now the boys could play even later than they used to sometimes, because in the heat of the sweat, you don't want to stop. And it encourages for more activities. People could do their walks and so on. I mean, you come down to places like Lambert Bridge and you could see the project there. So from St. Andrew Southeast point of view, he's done a lot, and I think you could see things happening. And the thing, I think, with track record of this government, and as long as Mr. Andrew here, is that you could visibly see that things are happening. And they have that track record to say, and they could account and say that they have fulfilled this project. But for me personally, I don't believe that is one of his greater achievements, even within the constituency. I think the work he has done within the Ministry of Education has really pushed forward. I mean, you could talk about the free tuition. I mean, my grandmother would have been glad if she didn't have to pay that tuition when I went in college. And already you had the burden of traveling between Grenville and St. George's. So that $810 or so that you didn't for 2 years, so that's a total of $1,620 that you didn't have to pay would have been tremendous for her, because again, I grew up with my grandmother. She didn't have an income at that point, just selling snow ice, and so to help send me to school. So that would have been tremendous for her, help for her, and I think for a lot of parents so that they could benefit from that. I mean, you have the meals in schools, you have making the skills programs available for a lot of persons within the Ministry of Education. So I think once you get to that point of people development and uplifting persons, making them, empowering them so that they could become better, they could grasp opportunities that maybe could bring to them in terms of becoming entrepreneurs, and so then I think that's the right step, and I think that's where I feel, for me personally, that he has shown and really strengthened.
Yeah.
Great. Well, you're a great spokesperson for Senator Andrew.
Yes.
You can be a great asset in the Senate in
Yes.
time to come. Piero, what would you be saying to voters, young people, not so young, the elderly in the constituency,
What I would be saying to them.
about Senator Andrew?
Oh. You have a man of integrity, an honest, good citizen. If you look at him and you look at his life, if you hear what he says, his word adds up to his actions. So I want to tell you, don't think twice. You have a good man representing you, a good man with a good heart for the people you have seen his work through the ministry and what is happening so far in the constituency. So don't think twice. Our government is doing a good job, and we have a remarkable person. A person one can emulate, or young men especially can emulate. And to me, there's no other choice than to support and give your vote to him in the future, in 2027.
Well, look as though you know the date. I don't know. Well. I want to thank both of you so very much for being part of the Heartbeat today, and to invite you, we'll start with Jonathan, just giving your closing comments.
So I want to start by firstly saying, especially to a lot of the young persons, for me, I wasn't really a fan of politics before. I mean, to me, I always saw it as, in the past, as so much drama and so much. But for me, leading up to the last election, I think the team, the NDC team, with the stewardship of the Honorable Dika Mitchell, brought a different light, a different view into the whole looks of politics. And then for me, it kind of opened my eyes and let me say, hey, it actually may have some interesting parts into it.
Yeah.
And then it kind of moved me into trying to become part and learning and become part of the process. And I think the stewardship of the Prime Minister and embodied by the Minister here in David Andrew, I think that there's a lot to learn, and person should not be so afraid to maybe look into it, as to look at it holistically. Young persons have a voice as well, and with David Andrew, we always have a listening. I mean, we have conversations on and off about different topic areas, and you could feel comfortable because, for instance, we had a meeting in our group in Kroshu, and the only way we could have known the interests that the boys there wanted a basketball court because they feel they wanted to play a lot, is because we met with them and they had a voice. So the young boys in Kroshu coming together to say, here's what we feel, that instead of we have to go all the way to Post Royal to play basketball, we feel that we could have that in Kroshu. And it shows that the youths could have a voice.
Yeah. Yep.
And that they need to have a voice, and to let people know what issues affect them, and I hope that we could shape policies and develop processes that could involve them. Yes. Also, again, I would say to them, just take a look at the opportunities available. There's a lot of opportunities within the ministries, and so on, that you could get and you could take advantage, and not just say that nothing's happening for you, because if you sit and wait for things to happen, then probably you won't get it. You have to be bold sometimes and make the steps that are necessary, that you could get involved and you could be part of the process, and you could get the opportunities that would bolster you personally and to help you develop, so on. So in all, I just want to say that on that note, I've worked again with David Andrew, and he's been very welcoming to me as part of the team, especially trying to reach the youth and build the youth, and that he has a passion, as I said before, as a Minister of Education, now former teacher, a trained counselor, that he has this knack for dealing with young persons and also to reaching them and communicating with them. And I think for him, the person must feel free, that they could reach out to him, they could relate with him. He's a very relatable person as well, and after that you could bring your issues. And as you could see by his track record, even without a $10,000 monthly that he could work
without
yes, even without the $10,000 that he's willing to lean upon the ministry necessary to help the people.
Right.
And wherever he could get, he could help. So I mean, you have his track record shows you have somebody that's willing to work for you.
All right.
And to do the work, and with that, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. Let me therefore ask Rondana just to give her closing remarks.
Okay, so I just want to acknowledge those who have gone before us, who've laid the foundation on which we now stand. There are some stalwarts like the Ross Callis, former MPs, Ms. Pauline Andrew, Mr. Patrick Simmons. There's someone by the name Crespo, Mr. Harold Williamsons, and even those after them. We just want to let them know, and the rest of our people know, that we continue to stand on the same values that represent the branch and the party. And we want to say thank you also for serving in the past.
Great. Yeah. Well, let me thank both of you for joining the Heartbeat today, Rondana Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Yes. Thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today, and stay with us. We're going to be asking, before we close the program, to invite Senator the Honorable David Andrew just to give some closing comments. So stay with us. Back with you in a moment.
Vice Mayor Saray Martin, Commissioners Richard Campbell, Melissa P. Dunn, and John Hudson do hereby proclaim that November 8th, 2025 is the Honorable Dixon Mitchell Day in the city of Lauderdale. And it says, in the city of Lauderdale, in recognition for his visionary service to Grenada, his steadfast dedication to the upliftment of his people, and his enduring influence on the Caribbean, and also to the entire world. And I put my seal to this, sir, and we present this to you today. Thank you.
Welcome back to the NDC Heartbeat podcast for a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada. And with me just to help close the program is Senator the Honorable David Andrew. You've had, or you have, two excellent representatives on your team.
Certainly.
Wonderful indeed. They have great potential. They are future leaders of the constituency, so you're doing well. It is said in leadership, it's all about your effort in training the next leader.
Oh, yeah.
That's what makes you a true leader.
Correct, correct. I mean, thank you. I have utmost confidence in the people around me, and I like to see the vesting of development into young people. And these young people have potential. And that goes without saying for me. I mean, I think it's been part of my life. I want to see every opportunity I get to pour into somebody who has the potential. We do that. And
which is so similar to Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and his entire team,
yeah.
Building others,
Yeah.
encouraging.
Because that is what really leadership is. In fact, if you don't do that, unfortunately, I mean, I've listened to some former Prime Minister saying at one point, he can't find anybody.
Yeah.
He can't, but that's shameful.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you spend that much time and you didn't invest in, you didn't pour into, to develop, and you could feel comfortable to tell the nation you couldn't find anybody, that's an indictment.
Yep.
But for me, it's clearly not that. I want to make sure every day that passes, I use the opportunity to pour into, to build, so that somebody could climb into this spot next 10 years in a short order, so that we don't have to say, where is it, who is going to do this thing? That's not what this is about. Real legacy is about succession. And so we're happy to have these young people, and it shows too the attractiveness of the NDC brand in this dispensation.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because there was a period, in fact, and some organizations suffer because they could hardly attract young minds. But you are seeing it clearly. Young people are attracted to this brand of politics. You heard Jonathan.
Yep.
He said at first he thought it was all melee and bacchanal. Mm-hmm. But when he started to look and listen at the messaging and the modus operandi of the Prime Minister or current Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, and his team, he found maybe there were some things good in it. And he got drawn in, and he's experiencing it, and I'm very happy to be associated with that. I can say the same for Donna. And that's just some of the team. Because we have some other young people who are just as entrenched and who feel sufficiently encouraged. You just can't have all of them here today.
Yep.
But I'm very, very happy for that. And I think Donna made a very important comment, which I want to endorse. A major shout out to all of the stalwarts.
Yep.
And the persons who have gone before and who have put significant work into the establishment and the upkeep of this organization, that we are able to stand firmly on the principles that they have stood for.
Yep.
We stand on them too. We support them. And to all of those who've gone before and who have worked hard to keep this organization, even when we were at our lowest, even when things were down and out, and who kept things going, as the current caretaker for St. Andrew South is NDC. I'm appreciative of that. I express profound appreciation to all of you. I know the Prime Minister is appreciative as well. And he would say likewise. And so we thank you. And that's the reason we can stand as younger persons to take the baton and carry our leg. But we appreciate you immensely, understanding that if you had not done what you had done, it wouldn't have been as easy a ride. So we appreciate that. We thank all of you. We stand on the same principles, the same values of good governance, transparency, accountability, all of these things. We stand on those, and we continue to take this organization forward in this dispensation for the good of our country, our people, our nation.
Well, you could not have said it better. Thank you very much, Senator Andrew,
Thank you.
for being
Always
part
a
of the
pleasure.
Heartbeat today, and thank you for sharing and for allowing me to interview these two team members of yours, Rondana Henry and also Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. Great team members of yours. Congratulations on your choices.
Thank you,
and,
sir.
it tells me, therefore, that I can lean on you in order to get a replacement here for me at the Heartbeat.
I think you're sending hints.
You have great talent out in Southeast.
Yes, we do. We
So I would love for some of them to start taking this seat.
We hear you, sir. We hear you.
So thank you again for being part
Yes.
of the Heartbeat, and thank you for sharing with your two representatives, team members, and hope that you continue to build on that legacy, that pathway, and that vision that you are sharing with Southeast and Andrew.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
congratulations on the way forward. And I'm sure that the voters out in Southeast would certainly give due consideration to what they know is their rightful duty so to do.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you.
all for being part of the Heartbeat, and for those who listened on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, 100.5 FM out of Grenville, and we have Rampoon Radio out of Delaware, United States. Thank you all for being part of the Heartbeat today, and join us again next Sunday when we have other equally stimulating and interesting conversations to share with you. Have a great Sunday afternoon, and we'll catch up next Sunday. Goodbye now.